Apsara Reddy, I'd like to begin with you. I know the AIADMK will say that OPS is a nobody. He didn't enjoy any sort of electoral wins or any clout. But the reality is that this is bad optics, Apsara Reddy, that you have someone who was so close, who was essentially Jayalalitha's man Friday, now in the DMK.
I don't know about the optics, Akshita, but I think people in AIADMK, the cadres and the 2.5 crore members of the AIADMK are under the leadership of Mr. Edappadi Palaniswami, wanted Mr. OPS out. Even when he was expelled, there was no protest, there was no resistance. People saw him for what he was. He was constantly aligning himself with the Chief Minister's son-in-law at cricket matches. His son, O.P. Ravindranath, was meeting the Chief Minister, praising the Chief Minister. When the arch rival of AIADMK is DMK, and when Amma was alive, and even under Mr. Edappadi sir's government, we would never, kind of have even any dealings with the DMK. But OPS was openly in bed with the DMK, so to speak. So I think the people of the AIADMK, the cadres of AIADMK, the leaders of AIADMK are firmly with Mr. Edappadi Palaniswami, and OPS is an expelled leader. Now that he's joined the DMK is unfortunate because it's betrayal of the highest order. He was 3-time chief minister because of AIADMK. His rise in many ways is because of the AIADMK, and aligning with the party which literally compromised the dignity of Madam Jayalalithaa in the assembly. Madam Jayalalithaa was attacked on the floor of the assembly. In her own words, her sari was pulled at, her hair was pulled out. People hit her with mics and books. The same party which literally harassed and violated Madam's dignity, OPS, who calls Jayalalithaa Madam Amma, has gone aligned with the evil force called DMK. It's out there for people to see.
No, he arrived. I'll just highlight that he also arrived at the venue at the DMK headquarters this morning in a car with Jayalalitha's photo. So that's the messaging that he's trying to send out, that his loyalty per se to Jayalalitha hasn't shifted. But Apsara Reddy, beyond really what the cadre feel, there's an election coming up. There's an election coming up, Apsara Reddy, and election-wise, if you look at it electorally, in South Tamil Nadu, you can't deny the fact that this is cutting votes, essentially. OPS on one side, Sasikala on one side.
OPS doesn't have any clout electorally. He doesn't have cadre to work for him. To work for an election, you need people, at least in your constituency where you've been multiple times chief minister, to have stood by you. There are no loyalists of OPS. Everybody is frittered away, including his own constituency. He was not able to, sustain any momentum there. I don't think OPS will cause a dent to the AIADMK. I think he'll be a liability to the DMK. If it were, I don't think OPS is considered a serious political force in Tamil Nadu. He's a spent force.
Okay, Dhananjayan, your opening remarks on the fact that OPS is now with the DMK. You know, it was clear that you consider this a big bang entry, which is why the Chief Minister, the Deputy Chief Minister, all of them were there to welcome Panneerselvam. But realistically speaking, Dhananjayan, what really is his contribution to the DMK, considering that he's not really enjoyed any electoral win even in 2024?
But no one in the other camp won the elections in 2024, but he still managed to get about some 20-odd percentage, significantly higher percentage than the average vote share of the bloc in which he contested the NDA bloc, which means to show that he has a drastic support in that region. And politics is also about perception. And in perception matter, there is a clear perception. DMK, which is ADMK, has now joined us. OPS integral part of ADMK and stood with NDA in 24, 21 with ADMK, now with us. Again, perception shift. PMK, which was with the NDA, ADMK, now split into two. Other faction might join us or somebody else or stand alone. We don't know. So, which means perception-wise, our allies have gone stronger, and ADMK's allies have deserted them. When do allies desert? When they realize that electorally there is no winning possible. That's when they desert, and that's what is happening. And more so, OPS has categorically said that this government is the only government that gives Dravidian model of governance. The ADMK and DMK to begin with merely had the same ideology because ADMK is an offshoot of the DMK party. But the fact that OPS has joined it and several other leaders from ADMK joining it means that the ideology of ADMK is now not there anymore.
No, but it's also a contradiction for you that you have an OPS entering your party with Jayalalitha's photo in hand.
No, how does it matter? And I'll tell you, when DMK split, half the people from DMK went and joined ADMK. So ideologically, both parties were the same. Of course, we gave better governance. We stood for many other things which they should have stood. But now the whole point we have to look into is the entire ideology of Anna or the DMK or ADMK has been obliterated under Edappadi Panneerselvam. There is no ideology left. It appears like an let's say, like a B team, or rather, no, franchise of the BJP party. Not the franchise is like an offshoot of the BJP party. That's how ADMK is being operated, and the way people are deserting the ADMK. And again, we have to remember, Edappadi was not chosen by the cadres. He was appointed, and we know how he was appointed before Sasikala had gone to jail.
Apsara Reddy, Apsara Reddy,
many
your
top
response,
leaders-
because this is
think-
exactly
I
what
think
happens.
this-
You've handed
this
it over to a
reflects-
plateau on the DMK where they can say
No,
perception matters and OPS has ditched AIADMK because they no longer believe or stand for what, Amma's AIADMK stood for.
See, it shows the desperation of the DMK, the way they're collecting allies. OPS's own supporter, there was a lady who gave an interview to multiple channels today, who said that he was upset and he was tearing up even till last minute, that he had no place and AIADMK cadre were not accepting him. He's been discarded from AIADMK, and Stalin is collecting those discarded from AIADMK, number one. Number two, when he talks about alliance, I don't think the DMK is in any position to talk about alliance when the biggest ally Congress is coming out and making drastic statements against Stalin's leadership and the way they treat their alliance partners. And also in terms of the nominated chief minister, I strongly condemn this, that Mr. Edappadi Palaniswami was the chief minister of the state for 4.5 years. When we talk about nominations, let's talk about the dynasty of the DMK. How did Mr. Stalin make it to power? How did Mr. Udayanidhi make it to power? And their own ministers are now calling for impunity. That is called nomination. That is called preferential treatment. Not how the AIADMK leaders risen from a simple farmer's background to the seat of the chief minister. Edappadi Palaniswami's journey has been that of a hard-working, loyal AIADMK cadre.
No, but can I also highlight here, Apsara Reddy, will you concede that there were attempts made to bring OPS onto, the NDA bloc? Because we had statements from the BJP. We had statements from the BJP suggesting there were attempts.
Mr. OPS has tried to enter the AIADMK through various routes, but his whole loyalty has never been with the AIADMK. The way he behaved when the General Council meeting was supposed to happen, he broke open the office, his supporters stole documents, which were later returned by the police rightfully to the AIADMK office. A lot of things that Mr. OPS has done has gone against the very grain of the AIADMK and the very fabric of AIADMK. So people in the AIADMK, the cadres, the district level secretaries, or even the absolute booth level cadre are not willing to accept him as a leader. And Mr. Edappadi Palaniswami is only reflecting the mood of the cadre and the people of Tamil Nadu.
Dhananjayan, is this ultimately, the AIADMK says, a last resort for OPS, that he didn't have a choice but to go ahead and join your party? So you can claim that, look, this is a victory, optics-wise, 100%. Electorally, we'll have to see maybe in a month from now what happens. But is this ultimately OPS running to the DMK with no other option? Because like you said, ideologically, there isn't much of a difference.
I wouldn't say, because India was trying their level best. Rather, even the BJP was trying their level best to bring OPS, and he was not interested. For that matter, even TTV earlier, EPS was not inclined to include him. But after pressure from the BJP, he has to be included, which means that OPS also, if you are willing to be, if he was willing to join the NDA,
no, that is not factual.
Happily taken him. No, let me not be interrupted.
That is
So
not factual.
definitely be taken in. Same thing with
Mr.
Sasikala
OPS
also.
has given an interview. Mr. OPS has given an interview saying, I would urge the BJP and Mr. TTV and Mr. Edappadi to please take me back. It was all over the press. I don't think...
I think it was 2 weeks ago. Yeah, Dhananjayan.
It was 2 weeks ago. I don't think you're factually correct there.
No. I think he can say whatever he wants to. If TTV could be taken in, why not OPS? So the fact that TTV...
That is the call of the AIADMK, not for DMK to decide that. Now that you've taken him, you have to suffer him.
No, we don't have to suffer him. He's a good person. I think he will do good for the party. Why should we suffer him? It depends on the people to decide. No, he has support of the people. He electorally is very strong in South Tamil Nadu. He has a great support from the Thevar community, and I think that will continue. But I can't. Sure. I don't like to be interrupted, Akshita. But the whole point.
Sure.
Is,
go
ahead.
Because I'm outside and I can't be loud. So the whole point is very simple. This politics is perception, and BJP wanted to build that perception. If OPS was willing to join, they would have taken him, including Sasikala, including even the other faction of PMK. The whole point is they're not willing to join because they know that they're going to lose.
So Jayalalithaa photo in hand, MGR tattoo in arm, none of that matters, Dhananjayan.
But the whole point here is broadly the simple fact that the ADMK has deviated from Jayalalithaa and MGR's ADMK. It's a point which many senior leaders are saying. It's not just OPS. Even Sengotian went to TVK. Many senior leaders who ideologically came have left the ADMK, and many senior leaders who are still a part of AIADMK are not happy with how the party is being run. They have told me in privacy, which I don't want to disclose the names now. The whole point is the problem is that the ideology of Anna or MGR or Jayalalithaa is not followed in AIADMK. The biggest problem now for them. That's something you have to do it. That is why AIADMK is losing elections badly 2019, 2021, 2024. In
Please
fact,
give me a chance
AIADMK
to
has
respond.
never done this bad.
Yeah.
No, anyways, I'm going to be leaving now, so I think you can.
Yeah.
Respond.
Okay, Dhananjayan has a flight to catch. So, Dhananjayan, we'll let you go. Thank you. But
I think
Apsara
the
Reddy,
public...
quickly respond, and then I'll bring in Mr. Shekhar
No,
Iyer.
I mean, he's talking about people within AIADMK being upset about the AIADMK leadership. What about their own former finance minister, who said the son-in-law of the chief minister and the son of the chief minister have 30,000 crores. They've usurped out 30,000 crores of public money. I mean, all this is going to play out in the election campaigns now, and we will wait and watch how the elections play out.
Shekhar Iyer, your opening comments, and my apologies for coming to you so late, but what do you make of what's happening right now? The AIADMK says this is a non-factor, doesn't matter, he's not a player in the current election scenario. Do you think so, Shekhar Iyer, that this doesn't dent the AIADMK in any way?
I would not think this is a great earth-shaking political event in Tamil Nadu, because he has been meeting Stalin since last August of 2025. That is the first time he met Stalin. And this is the third meeting, and finally he was left with no option. Even a day ago, he was saying that he's not forming a party. And this has come after Rakshita, after Sasikala said she's floating a party. In fact, she appealed to TTV Dhinakaran and OPS to join her. Now, OPS appeal for the DMK or the utility for DMK is very limited, especially in terms of garnering the Mukkulathur vote. Because beyond the Tanjavur Kaveri Delta, DMK is in a weak position as far as that community is concerned.
No, but that's exactly the point, Mr. Shekhar Iyer, that you got this now division, a very clear split. Sasikala with her own party, OPS now joining the DMK. They managed to get TTV Dhinakaran on board. But if you look at this very community and the representatives of the Mukkulathur community, you've already got that split.
No, but OPS has stopped being the only representative of that community. Because today, if that community is largely represented by TTV Dhinakaran. That's why it was very keen that TTV Dhinakaran was brought in. And the fact that EPS and TTV Dhinakaran have patched up, that's a very politically important. And the other point, Akshita, you see, the problem came because BJP was trying hard to see that OPS is brought back into NDA. But OPS set a condition that he will not, would not be want a part of NDA, but he has to get into the NDA, into the AIADMK. And that consistently EPS, and particularly after EPS even took in TTV Dhinakaran, he was very consistent and said no to OPS. So OPS said, I will, because BJP...
No, but will you concede, Mr. Shekhar Iyer, that optics-wise, it's not the best look that someone who was, Jayalalitha's go-to man at every point when she was in a crisis, he'd step up because he was considered to be one of her most loyal aides, is today on the other side?
So those are chronological details when you talk about OPS. But in today, EPS is in full command of the party. That has long been settled. And for OPS, he has been limited to his own circle and to his very close followers and more about his sons and himself. See, that is why even that BJP formula of let him form a party and come in. And by the way, Akshita, he had gone with the same proposal to Stalin, that his party should be included into a DMK alliance. It is Stalin who declared it to OPS. He says, no, we don't want your party to come in. We said, you can come in and your supporters, whoever they are, we will try to give them. But they have to contest under DMK symbol. That was made very clear to OPS. And OPS came back disappointed in the second meeting, which was just a week ago. And finally, when he realized that he is getting nowhere, in fact, it is a sign of desperation of OPS. And for EPS is very clear. I mean, this is something, and BJP could not help OPS because OPS was not willing to get into NDA as a separate unit. Rather, he wanted to get into AIADMK. And EPS said, a man who has already said DMK is coming back to power, because OPS said this 6 months ago, that it is DMK who are favored to win.
Okay, so Apsara Reddy, I see your hand up. So quickly your view before I wrap this up, please.
Yeah, if anything, if you're talking about optics, if anything, it looks really bad and desperate on Mr. OPS's part, because the person he called Amma, which literally means mother, and Tamil Nadu has a large chunk of women voters. Amma was assaulted by DMK on the floor of the house, and he's aligned with the people who assaulted Amma. It's not going to augur well for him or for the DMK.
Okay, I'll just give out a reminder again that in Indian politics particularly, there are no permanent friends or enemies. And I think this is another fitting example of that.